Folks, how's it going tonight? This is Rebel Rock Radio, and I am your host, Steve, and we're on episode, I don't know, 143. So tonight is going to be an interesting episode, be a little bit different than how we normally do things here. This is going to be a music-filled episode, a lot more music than I usually play. For reasons, and I'm going to be having some music discussions, and to help me along is a friend of mine from way back, Cameron. So let's bring him on. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. So tonight we've got a shit ton of music for you folks, and let's see who we got in the chat. We got Chantel in the chat. And Ubaldo T, welcome back, you folks. And it's early; we'll probably get some more people in later. So we're gonna be playing a lot of music, like a lot. If you're used to this show, it's gonna be a lot more than you're used to. Let's give a little history. So. Cameron and I were stationed together in Alaska when we were in the Air Farts.
Yeah.
And we were in a band for a while together up there. And, over the years, we've just kept in touch. And, so Cameron lives in, you live in Oregon, but where in Oregon do you live?
I live just outside Portland.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Cool. And, so you actually stayed in the Air Force a little longer than I did. I got out in 98, and then I went back in for like a year.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you went back in.
Well, I went in with the Guard.
Okay, yeah.
I was in the Guard. And actually most of the time that I was in the Guard, I was in tech school because they had to send me back to tech school.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I was in tech school for like 9 months. So like most of that year I was in tech school. That was a waste of your time, guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So,
I didn't get out until 2005. And then actually stayed another 3 years overseas, working as a government contractor after that.
Yeah. So after Alaska, where did you go? You went to England, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to the UK for 4 years, 4 gloomy, glorious years in England. Lived in Cambridge, so that was cool. But other than that, it was unmemorable.
Yeah.
And then I went to Okinawa, Japan, which is amazing. I met my lovely wife there, and I was there for about another 2.5 years, and then I got out on an early out because the Air Force and their infinite wisdom first offered everybody enlistment bonuses to join my career field, and then realized that they overbloated it, and then offered us in quick out. So they paid me to re-enlist, and then a year later let me leave early. So
paid awesome. You to leave early, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I went to South Korea, and we lived there for 3 years while I worked in Seoul, and then I came back to the States.
Cool stuff. So Ubaldo says, let's rock. He's ready for music. So I think this is how we're going to do it, because we don't normally play the amount of music that we're going to play tonight. So I'm going to introduce the first one, and then I'm going to be playing a couple more after that, and we'll just kind of talk about them after we're done playing those. So the first song that we're playing is from a band based out of Illinois. I can't remember where in Illinois. I want to say they're close to Chicago, but they're not in Chicago. If I'm wrong, guys, sorry. They are called Space Age Zeros, and they put an album out last year in December. It was an EP called Blast Off, And this is one of the songs that came off of the Blast Off EP. It is called On a Date with Susie Moon. So here you go.
Hello?
Hey, Susie, how are you? It's Nathan.
Who?
Nathan with the Space Age Zeros.
How did you get this number?
I was wondering if you weren't doing anything after your show. If maybe you wanted to grab a bite to eat or something?
Ew. No.
Nearly blown over when look from her took the weight off my shoulders. The architects of misery, called down from the battle rooms on high. They pick a fight for you and I to gamble lost and set the price. But from the depths to the mountains, we struggle for our lives. The pushback is controlled by the same routine that keeps us getting tired. Oh, I don't know how to break up, but I'm trying harder every day. To rise up, take a man, put it down and walk away. I'm still screaming for a change. The animals, they set the pace, kick up their paws to sell their games. They roll the dice so we can see who will pull down to misplaced blame. Lashing out for the come up, lashing out for their lives, lashing out at each other, oh, lashing out for the crimes. Oh, I don't know how to break up, but I'm trying harder every day. To rise up, take a man, put it down and walk away. I'm still screaming for a change. Why you waving the flag, living in tears in the back, crying out, pointing fingers and blame. I can hear you in the struggle while you're sick in your bubble, feeling great till there ain't no escape. Thinking you up and you are, look at your front of the yard, and you be blessed with this life on a chain. While the fear that's inside, you got your blood up today, educated.
Don't know how to break it, but trying harder every day. To rise up, strike a match, put it down and walk away. To rise up, strike a match, put it down and walk away. I'm still screaming for a change. I'm still screaming for a change. I'm still screaming for a change. I'm still screaming for a change.
Yo.
Oh, God, come on. Ta-da! All right. So, we're back. And that first song was Space Age Zeros, as I mentioned earlier, with On a Date with Susie Moon. And I liked that. It had a nice little bark like a dog era screeching weasel vibe to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff. The second song that was played, that is from a band based out of Columbus, Ohio, called the Villaintinos. And they just put that song out as a single in August. And that was called Come Closer. And what do you think of that song?
It was pretty good. It kind of reminded me of at least the singer, the way she sounded like a Brody Dale, kind of in a way, like just the gravelly in her voice there.
Yeah, a little bit. And then that third song came from the band The Iron Roses. The name of the song was Screaming for a Change. And that comes from a self-titled album that is going to be released on October 20th via Iodine Recordings. So this band, one of the front people is Nathan Gray, who we have played on the show before. He was in a band. Oh, man, what was the name of that band? Okay, see, now I got to Google it because I can't remember the name of the fucking band. shit. What was the name of the fucking band? Boy Sets Fire. And they were a band from New Jersey. And then he went solo for a while and did some really good stuff. He did some collaborations with, aside from his solo stuff, he did some collaborations with Frank Turner, if you know that name. And he also did a collaboration with Tim from Rise Against. And then he put this band, the Iron Roses, together. So they're pretty good. I really like the song. I'm really looking forward to the release of this album because I've really liked his solo stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing to hearing the whole album and seeing what comes of it.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm trying to figure out who the producer was. So it was really well produced. Definite step up.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Man, let me see if I can find the producer. Let's see. Well, it was produced by the Iron Roses. It was engineered by a guy named Pedro Aida.
Yeah, he's a member of the band.
Okay. Mastered by Jack Shirley at Atomic Garden Recording Studios. Yeah, don't know who that is. Anyway, so if you're just joining us, this is Rebel Rock Radio, episode number 143. The title, if you're wondering, the title of this episode, Ice Station Zebra, was the name of Cameron and I's band in Alaska. And so I thought that would be appropriate for the name of this episode.
Yeah.
Also because I couldn't think of another name for the episode. It's like, so as I said, this is Rebel Rock Radio. You can find us on all those social media things like Facebook and Twitter and Blue Sky and TikTok and Instagram and all that shit. But I'm not going to give you all those links. I'm just going to give you one. You just go to bio.link/Rebel Rock Radio, and that will take you to all of our links. And you can hang out and chat with us there. We also have a Discord, and that link should be on BioLink as well. If not, ask me for it. I'll give it to you. Who's a zebra? What are you talking about, Spencer? Are you a zebra today? Are you talking about me? I don't get it. Okay. Next up, I would like to give a shout out to. No, I'm not launching the zebra print lingerie. One of these days, maybe. We'll see. I don't even have the leopard print out yet. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, patrons. Oh, man. Did I forget to? Yeah, I probably forgot to load that up. Stand by. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so we do have patrons that I would like to give a shout out to. These are folks that support us financially. And I would like to give a shout out to Dave, Kelly, Chris, Justin, Charlie, and Chantel. Thank you for your support. You help us keep the lights on in this thing. And if you would like to support us on our Patreon, just go to Patreon and look for Rebel Rock Radio, or you can find that link on the aforementioned bio link. There it is again, bio.link/Rebel Rock Radio. You can find our Patreon, and you can support us for as little as $1 a month.
Yeah. And just for the like the origin of that Ice Station Zebra name, so that was like a really terrible movie from the 60s.
It was.
And I think its biggest claim to fame was that I think it was Roger Ebert or one of those reviewer guys. Like his comment was so flat and conventional that its 3 moments of interest are an embarrassment. I thought that was very fitting for our band at the time.
Wasn't there a cartoon where some guy was talking about when I was stationed on Ice Station Zebra? Or
Yeah.
yeah. I don't remember which one that was, but yeah, we kind of felt like we were stationed at Ice Station Zebra because it was horrible there. My God, that was so awful. There was nothing to do up there unless you like to hunt and fish, which I didn't really. I mean, we did fish a few times, but that was mostly just another excuse to drink.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just
so that's pretty much all we did up there was drink and play music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not at all. Podcast shout outs. I want to give a shout out to a few podcasts that you should be checking out if you're not already. I'd like to give a shout out to ATSW, the Escape Pod, the Sidebar Cantina, Pop My Culture, Dork Wars, Used and Abused, Grave Reviews, Star Wars Splash Page, the Punk Lotto Pod, and One Band, 5 Songs. Yeah, I don't even, Spencer, I don't even know if I would want to vacation there. So here's the thing, like, we lived in like north central Alaska. Anchorage was a little bit better. I went down there a few times while we lived up there. Anchorage was a lot better, and I wish I would have been stationed there. But where we were at, it was a hellscape. It was awful. It was just awful. Yeah, just
cold and flat, and they used coal dust from burning the coal power generating plant to somehow make the roads not slippery, which obviously didn't work, but
no,
sure,
it
made a mess of things.
No, it didn't work. And
it's terrible.
And it was weird because we lived in like the one spot in Alaska that didn't have mountains. Like what they call it? We lived in a basin. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was messed up. Like I would often I lived in the you lived in base housing because you were married, but I lived in the they call them dorms, I guess. I don't know. It's where the single people lived. Us that were losers. I would often just go leave the dorms and there'd be like a freaking moose just walking around. Holy shit, man. I guess I'm going back inside. Fuck this. Because you don't want to mess with those moose, man. They'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was it was bad. It was bad. I didn't like it.
The two things that you'd always have consistency with was there'd be a moose around and some idiot every year would, get a medical emergency because he left his booze outside and drank it. Since, alcohol doesn't freeze, it just melts your insides.
Yeah. Or some idiot that decided to go hang out outside when it's like 60 below.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots. Yeah. So, what have you been up to this week?
Nothing really, just work, and it always seems to be work. This is like an indie year for us, so it's really busy.
Yeah. Anything that you have been watching or reading lately that sparked your interest?
Well, I mean, of course, I've been watching Ahsoka. I've also watched a show on, I it was Amazon Prime, called Lioness, which
Yeah.
is pretty good. Kind of a CIA type show.
Oh, okay.
Pretty interesting with Zoe Saldana. I could probably say her name.
Oh, from Spider-Man?
No, from she was in Avatar. She was in Guardians.
Oh, okay. I'm mixing names. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, she's in it. It's pretty good.
Actually, you know what? No, I may have seen a trailer for it. I didn't watch it. Man, so my week is again mostly been work, but Monday night. So I work part-time at a game store, a store that sells tabletop RPGs. And Monday night we played a game that was just recently released called Pirate Borg. And that was a lot of fun. Pirate Borg was really a lot of fun. If you are into pirates, that is definitely something worth checking out if you're into the whole tabletop RPG thing. It is also very light on rules. So it's loosely based off of a rule system, the rule system for a game called Morkborg, which actually isn't pronounced Morkborg, but that's what it looks like, so that's what everybody calls it. It's a Swedish game, but very light on rules. It takes you like maybe 5 to 10 minutes to create a character. But yeah, Pirate Borg is a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out. What else I've been watching Ahsoka. I also started, speaking of pirates, oddly enough, I started watching a show called Black Cells.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a great show.
Yeah, I watched I don't watch a lot of TV, and when I do, it's usually shit that's been come and gone, except for the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, I watched the first episode, and yeah, I like it. I think I'm going to try to watch the rest of it. So Spencer, what RPG did you find that you want to get into? All right. So what else we got going on? So we do have some topics that we're going to talk about a little bit after this next musical break here. We've got 3 more songs that we're going to play. So we're going to start things off with a band out of Pennsylvania. No idea what part of Pennsylvania. They are called Gloomer, and they have an album coming out on October 6th called Embrace the End via Friend Club Records. So we're going to kick things off. We're going to kick this segment off with those guys. So here you go.
Connect this with the problem of birth and death, which puzzles people.
I live
don't you give me no jive. Low rent brother, being a motherfucker, I'll be damned if I know why. Showdown, look out, gotta go, 'cause I ain't got time to die. Ride those rails, shotgun sales, all night long. Black hotels, cheap hotels, burning lighting up the wasteland, lighting up the wasteland, lighting up, I said lighting up the wasteland. I looked in the rear view, checked up ahead. I got nothing but monkeys fucking with my head. Well, some chase Mardi Gras, others chase the thing. We all gotta go someday, like the black night in the rain. Come along if you wish to, come along if you dare. Well, come on, Sister Lightning, in your licking chair. Ride those rails, shotgun sales, all night long. Black hotels, cheap hotels, burning Babylon. Lighting up the wasteland, lighting up the wasteland, lighting up, I said lighting up the wasteland.
All righty, we are back. Boom. All right, so that first song was Being in Nothingness by Gloomer out of Pennsylvania. Kind of sounded like something that might have came off the Lost Boys soundtrack.
Yeah. See, I found it really funny that they're trying really hard to sound like dark, Gloomer and Being in Nothingness and Embrace the End.
Yeah.
And then they're on Friend Club Records.
yeah. It's good though.
It's like they're not sticking with the motif there.
Yeah. One of these things doesn't belong. So that second song was from solo artist Richard Duguay. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is from Los Angeles. And that song was called Wasteland. And that is from his March 2023 album, Beautiful Decline, that came from Rumbar Records. Yeah. We had some folks in the chat said he looks like Michael Myers on that cover that we popped up there. A little bit. His voice reminded me a little bit of Alice Cooper, but like an almost Alice Cooper kind of feel to his voice.
Yeah. Apparently he's been around since like forever.
Oh yeah. He's been around for he's been around.
Scene, so.
Yeah, been around for a while. And then that final one was the Wytches out of Brighton, UK. And the song was Zep Step. And that came from an album that was just released last Friday called Our Guest Can't Be Named. And that came from Alcapop Records. What are your thoughts on that one?
I liked it. It kind of actually reminded me of the singer sounded to me like the singer for Sunny Day Real Estate, which is it's a take it or leave it band for me. But especially the intro and the music kind of reminded me of like Bauhaus or Sisters of Mercy, something like that.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see that. Not bad.
Kind of
not
90s,
bad stuff.
Late 80s, kind of dark rock type stuff.
Definitely. Some of that stuff is good, and some of it is, as you mentioned, take it or leave it. So we are going to talk about some stuff. We've got some musical topics we're actually going to talk about. Go figure. Before we go on to our next music break, I thought we would talk about some concerts. Before we get into that too much, I am not prepared, as always. Figures. I had some, I went out on Twitter and Facebook and a couple others and asked folks what their first concert was, like the first concert that they went to. And we did get a few responses, so I just wanted to go over some of those. Trying to get my Facebook up here. All right, first concert. So, Rexy Jupiter. Oh, that's she's been on the show before. She's one half of the podcast Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha. She's been on a few times. Actually, she has not been on. Her other half has been on. But yeah, she said her first concert was Lincoln Park at Kane's Ballroom. Kane's Ballroom is a big music venue in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And she saw Lincoln Park in 1999. Let's see what's next. Denise, who is the other half of Sisterhood of Traveling Bantha, has been on the show a couple of times. She said her first concert was the Beach Boys in 1995. And she mentioned that John Stamos was playing drums for them. All righty. So that's what we got from Facebook. And what did we get from the Twitters? I don't think we got much off Twitter. Brian Finnessy. He's oddly enough said his first concert was also the Beach Boys in 1988. The same tour as when they appeared on Full House. All right. Oh, I lost you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So you folks in the chat, what was your first concert experience? And while we're waiting to get responses from them, thank you, Chantel. She said we are playing good music tonight. Thank you very much. Cameron, what was your very first concert experience?
Tad, I think, in 1990.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember who opened up for him. It was pretty much the first. I was 17. First concert I ever went to, way back in the good old days of 1990. They're a Portland band, so that was the first like show. You know, they were never really big. Aside from their appearance, they're like three big dudes.
See, and I actually thought they were from Seattle.
They might have been originally from Seattle, but they moved down here to Portland for a while.
I remember that you used to play them in the dorms, and they were on a soundtrack, and now I can't remember what the name of the soundtrack was.
Oh wow, yeah.
Damn. The one I'm thinking is yeah, I can't remember.
I haven't listened to them probably since 95 maybe.
Yeah. They had a cover song that was really fucking good. And God, I can't think of who it was.
They were on.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just remember the band. I know you don't. Yeah, I've never seen them in concert. Spencer said his first concert was a Florida Georgia Line and Jason Aldean concert. Back when I was into that kind of music. Gotta be honest, Spencer, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Tina says that their first concert was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. All right.
Nice.
All right. So my first concert, interestingly enough, was Motley Crue.
Oh, wow. Not what I would have expected.
Yeah. So that was my first concert, but my first I guess you could say punk or punk adjacent concert would have been Fugazi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw them at a really tiny little place called the Edmond Historical Society. But it was a good show. It was really good.
Yeah, really, all of their shows are. So after leaving Alaska and getting stationed in England, I saw them probably 4 times while I was there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
weirdly enough, a lot of those bands came through, a lot of the Discord bands, like Blue Tip and a couple others would come through England a lot, strangely enough. So, and they'd always play interesting places because, they won't play venues that serve alcohol, right? Or they're all age shows always.
Yeah.
So they definitely have a lot of weird places, like a library or things like that they'll play.
Nice. That's really
I like
cool.
that band a lot.
Yeah, I like Fugazi quite a bit. They're good.
My first big band, so non just Pacific Northwest band, that I saw was, I think, 91, and that was Danzig, White Zombie, and Caius.
I did go to that tour. When was that? God, when was that?
This is 91 or 92.
That sounds about right. Yeah. I remember that because I remember Caius was first and I had never heard of him. And I'm like, what in the hell is this? And then
92.
And then I kind of got to where I liked them and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's the dude from Queens of the Stone Age's first band.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Long before they were anything other than just kind of Arizona desert rock stuff.
So while you were in Alaska, did you see any good shows?
You mean other than the weekly local band at the Greyhound?
Yeah. Other than the local bar band.
No.
Because strangely, I actually did see a couple of shows. So me and some friends, man, I don't remember when it was. We actually drove down to Anchorage and saw NoFX.
Oh, nice.
And
that was a good one.
That was a good show. And now a show I did not go to that I wish I did, Quiet Riot came to Fairbanks. And I did not go to that show. I don't even remember the name of the venue. It was a little tiny venue. And I remember thinking, Quiet Riot, how the hell would they fit in that place?
Yeah.
It may have been the Greyhound.
May have, yeah.
I don't remember. But the other concert that I saw, it was in Fairbanks, and for the life of me, I don't remember the name of the venue. It was fairly big, but not packed. This happened. This was a show just maybe a couple of months before I left Alaska. Me and you remember Cole?
Yeah.
Me and Cole were driving around one weekend in some Saturday night or Saturday afternoon in Fairbanks, because what else are you gonna do? And we heard something over the radio. The name of the venue, I think, was the Blue Moon.
Okay.
Did you ever go to that venue?
I don't think so.
But so the DJ or the radio announcer or whatever said that the Blue Moon tonight, Agent Orange. And I remember thinking, nah, it's not that Agent Orange. Yeah. What the hell would they be doing in Fairbanks? And I was like, it can't be them. And I'm like, well, let's go anyway, just for the hell of it. I mean, we got nothing else to do tonight. So we go to this place around showtime, and it's fucking Agent Orange.
Nice.
And I'm like, what are you guys doing in Fairbanks, Alaska? But it was a really good show. Really good. Got to hang out with them after the show and drank at the bar. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
A lot of fun. Tina says, I have seen Disturbed open up for Korn. Yes, Spencer, there are concerts in Alaska. Most of them are in Anchorage, though. Nobody in their right mind wants to go to northern Alaska.
Yeah.
Tina also saw Def Leppard and Bryan Adams and Aerosmith. Is this all one show, Tina? because that's a really weird festival. Anyway, we'll get more into concerts here in just a second. We're actually going to talk venues, but before we get into that, we are going to talk about first albums, and that is another one that I reached out to our listener base on, and actually I don't think we got much response on that one either. Sammy Fisher on Facebook said that he says his first album was AC/DC, but doesn't mention which one it was. That's odd. Okay. So that was the first album on Facebook. I know I put it on Twitter. Oh, here we go. Not much on that one either. Dragon Buddy, he was on with us last week. His first album was Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. And then he wanted to point out that his second was Master of Puppets, so he got better. Yeah. So everybody, okay. Tina said that was separate concerts. Cameron, what was the very first now? So let's specify this a little bit more. The first album that you bought.
Okay. So I want to say that the first album I bought was Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden, actually, when I was in probably the 4th grade.
Yeah. 87?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. Amusingly enough, my first album was also Motley Crue. After that, I think my first album that I bought actually was How Could Hell Be Any Worse?
Okay.
By Bad Religion.
Yeah, nice. The first, so I remember, I mean, you really had to give the conditions on it, because I remember my first albums that I ever got were, I don't know how we knew these people, but he gave me like a Kiss. I want to say it was Destroyer or something like that. And I was really young, right? So
yeah,
I just wanted it because they looked cool they looked like comic book characters on the album cover.
Yeah.
So that was, so
I mean,
I don't even know if I ever listened to the album. I just had it.
I mean, my dad had a lot of Beatles albums, so we listened to that a lot around the house growing up. And I think, I mean, at some point in time, either my mom or my dad bought me like a Chipmunks album when I was younger. I remember specifically them buying me Chipmunk Punk, which, looking back now, if you go and look at the songs that were covered on the album, none of them are really punk. They're like new wave. They played like Queen and the Cars and Blondie, Tom Petty. So like not really anything punk by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, closest one being maybe Blondie.
Yeah, but it was not really punk, so I don't know why they called it Chipmunk Punk. Yeah, anyway, but so that was an early album I remember them buying for me. So let's see. Spencer says, I don't remember my first album, but likely either a Jason Aldean or Maroon 5 album. Man, you were really into Jason Aldean at one point in time, weren't you? You know, I got to be completely honest. I could not name a Jason Aldean song. I have heard that artist's name somewhere, but I don't think I've ever listened to them. And if I have, it was on accident. But I could not name a song or an album from them.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with any like newer country type stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
of course, though, Johnny Cash and stuff like that. But anything
yeah,
later, there's
yeah.
a kind of an alt country guy called the White Buffalo. It's really good. But that's about all I know.
Have you heard of an artist by the name of John Moreland?
I don't think so.
Okay, he's actually from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he's had some of his stuff on. There's a TV show. It was called what was the name of that TV show? Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, yeah.
He had a tune on there, and he's been played on other stuff, but he's really good. I've seen him in concert multiple times. Yeah, he's kind of somewhat alt country, maybe, I don't know, maybe punk country. I don't know what you. Yeah, you'd have to listen to it to understand. Anyway,
interestingly, a lot of the White Buffalo too. I think I heard them on. I don't think it was Sons of Anarchy, but I think they had his songs on there. I think it was on the Punisher, like that Punisher, a Netflix show that they had.
Oh, okay. The one with John Bernthal,
Jane from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that show. I actually kind of like it. Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to the soundtrack to that. So the other thing we were going to talk about before the next break is going to be, I just called it preferred music venue types. So like, there's a lot of places you can go to shows. Like we've already mentioned, like museums, libraries, little tiny clubs, and then all the way up to like huge arena shows and bars and festivals, everything in between. House shows were really big for a long time. So like, what's your favorite place to go see a show?
Yeah, this is interesting because I've been to a few shows this year, and I saw Skinny Puppy in like a small venue that was too small for their last show. That was stinky and way too crowded and terrible. Music was great, but the show was terrible. So definitely not that type of venue. And then I saw The Cure at a stadium. That was great, but I've still the whole that many people clumped together kind of I'm not too happy with. And then I saw two separate shows, but the Pixies and Nine Inch Nails both at outdoor amphitheater venues, and by far those were the best experience
because they're not cramped as together.
Yeah, there's fresh air. You're not. You can get enough away from people to where you're not rubbing elbows and
yeah.
So probably I'd say that kind of outdoor amphitheater type. Not a giant festival, but just big enough for a good number of people.
Yeah, see, the thing about festivals is, I mean, you can see a lot of cool bands, but take Riot Fest as an example. I went last year, and there were a ton of bands that I wanted to see, but number one, a lot of them were scheduled at the same time.
Yeah.
And two, you had to walk from like one end of the park to the other to see, like you could be watching one band and then it would take you like, I don't know, like a half an hour to get to the other side of the park just to see the next band that you want to see. Yeah. And you've got to time it right. And that can be a little, kind of a pain in the ass, actually.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. I mean, I'm old. I can't be doing all that walking. So, yeah, it was. So I like festivals because it gives you a chance to see a lot of bands, but you kind of got to take the bad with the good there. And there's a lot of bad. I used to really like house parties. House parties were a lot of fun. I haven't been, other than festivals, I haven't been to a whole lot of like outdoor shows. I've been to a few shows at a venue here in Oklahoma City called the Zoo Amphitheater. And that's like most recently I saw Rancid and Dropkick Murphys at the Zoo Amphitheater, and that was last year. I think it was last year, and it was good. I mean, the experience was good. So yeah, I could see why that type of venue would be preferred. I do really like those. I really like going to like smaller clubs. I think that's my preferred.
Yeah, for acts that support a smaller club, I like that. Unfortunately, just most recently, it's just been shows that are too big for where they put.
It does get kind of crowded. Like Skinny Puppy. Like I've only seen them once, and it was in a club. It was oh God, when did I see them? It was for Too Dark Park for that album. So like 1990, 91, somewhere around there. And Godflesh opened up for them. But just to be real, I don't remember most of that show. It was I won't get into the specific on why I don't remember that show, but you people can use your imagination. It was the 90s. I was young and stupid and partook of things I shouldn't have been partaking in. So yeah, I don't remember that show. Yeah. So, man, I'll tell you, I want to tell you one of my favorite venues that I personally have played in, my band Get Fired. We played a venue in McAllister, I use the term venue very loosely. It was in McAllister, Oklahoma, and it was like a big, like, do you know what I mean when I say a barn shed?
Yeah.
It's like an aluminum shed that's as big as a barn.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. And that's what this venue was. It was and it was about 6 blocks from the state prison.
Oh,
like McAllister, Oklahoma is famous for the big state prison. You know, this is where generally people in Oklahoma that are on death row go.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we were about like 6 blocks from the state prison, and we drove by it as we were going to the venue. But just something about that experience was really a lot of fun. Like mostly we've played, like, other than that, I don't think we've played anything other than like small clubs and small bars.
Yeah. I wonder what the sound must have been kind of crazy in that aluminum siding.
I will let you know. Actually, a friend of ours recorded that show.
Oh wow!
And he put it on YouTube.
No.
And I extracted the audio from that YouTube video, and I kind of cleaned it up somewhat, and then I chopped it up to where it's like individual tracks. And so our drummer is actually going to try as much as he can to remix it and do a little mastering on it. And if it turns out sounding okay, I think we're going to release it.
Nice.
So yeah, that'll be interesting. But I'll shoot you the MP3s that I currently have of that show, so you can hear what it sounds like. You can obviously tell that it's a live recording. Like,
Yeah.
Some live albums you'll listen to and it'll be like, this is really live. Like, how can you tell? And no, you can clearly tell that this is a live recording.
Yeah, I don't think from a band playing perspective, I don't think I've ever played anything bigger than just a small bar or small club.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back into some music. We've got a couple of songs we're going to play before we get back to some more music discussion. But this first one, we're going to kick this one off with a band based out of Boston. The band is called Stars Like Ours, and they have an album coming out on the 6th of October called Better Every Day. And that's coming out from Rumbar Records. And the name of the tune that we're going to play is What's Going Wrong. So here you go.
Please don't ask me. I don't wanna feel again today. Once upon a time I chose to throw it all away. Please don't
All right. So that last band was Small Crush, based out of Oakland, California. That song was called Rumblin' Tummy, and comes from an album titled Penelope that was released September 15th on Asian Man Records. So, fairly well known underground record label. That sounds kind of a oxymoron, though. But you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I especially liked the drums. I was going back and forth on whether or not that was a drum machine.
Yeah,
Wasn't really
it's
sure, but I did like the drum sound. But this is like, it sounds, and not in a bad way. I don't want to. I want to use the word typical, but that sounds negative. It sounds like kind of what modern indie rock sounds like now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's good. I do like it. But going back to that first song, "The Stars Like Ours," with "What's Going Wrong," that was really good. I really liked how prominent the bass was in that song. The
Yeah,
bass,
that's
bass
another
guitar.
mixed really well album
Yeah.
or song, and I really liked it too. It seemed like it would have fit right in on any 90s radio station back
Yeah,
in 90.
yeah, for sure.
Kind of a throwing muses slash rebellion
Yeah.
feel to
Um,
it. Very cool.
Very good song. Yeah, I'm gonna be keeping my eye out for that album of theirs. So Better Every Day is the name of the album, and it comes out on October 6th. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what that one ends up sounding like. So next topic of discussion that we mentioned we were going to talk about is bands we have never seen but would like to.
Yeah.
So that could be a lot. I mean, there's bands out there that I've never seen, but we'll probably never get a chance to see,
Yeah.
because either the band members are dead, or the band is no longer a band anymore,
Yeah.
or for whatever reason. Man, I thought I had some notes on this, but a couple that off the top of my head I can think of. Face to Face I've never seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Bouncing Souls I've never seen. Man, who else have I never seen but would like? Can you think of any that you have never seen but would like to?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the typical, like, I would have loved to see the Beatles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That we could. I'm sure most everybody would have loved to have seen. In terms of like modern music, I would probably say I'd like to see Against Me.
Yeah.
Sad Girls Club, which was a band you played on another podcast that you have, and that I listened to and got turned on to that band. So Sad Girls Club, for sure.
Yeah, they're good. Oh, I know who. Hot Water Music I've never seen.
Okay.
Me First to the Gimme Gimmes. Never seen that.
Yeah, that would be good. And he's dead, right? So
Who is?
Tony Sly.
Well, they still perform. I think.
You think just what, like Mike from NoFX is singing, or just someone else is singing? I thought they stopped after Tony Sly died.
No, well, the guy who was always singing though was I mean, the main singer of that band was always Spike from Swinging Utters.
I thought Tony Sly made.
Tony Sly may have made an appearance, but
yeah, actually, now that I look at it, totally true. Why did I always think that he was doing it?
But they do.
I guess just the association of No Use for a Name and Me First and that Lagwagon and that whole kind of scene. I just kind of
I was getting ready to say because Joey Cape is a long-standing member.
Yeah.
So that association would make sense. I know for a little while. Oh crap! What is her name? Stacy D of Bad Cop, Bad Cop. Toured with them for a while.
Well, I'd like to see Bad Cop for sure.
I've seen them. I saw them at a little venue here in Oklahoma City, and they were great. It was amazing. That show was so good. So
there's okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's actually a couple of kind of like in terms of like outside the U.S. music. There's a couple of Japanese punk bands I think are really good. I'd like to see High Standard, which were like a 90s punk band. They did a lot of, covers of cool stuff. And then they had their own stuff as well. They were brought over for a bit by NoFX and that record label for a while. They were on that record label. I think they still are. And then another one is called Ella Garden, who I'm not sure if they're around anymore. But they're really good. I'd like to see those two for sure.
Cool. I'm trying to think. There's some other like lesser known bands that I know I'd like to see. Audio Karate, I'd really like to see. Spanish Love Songs. They're on tour right now, but I don't think they're coming anywhere near me. They just put a new album out, but yeah, I don't think they're coming anywhere near here. Have you ever heard of Airstream Futures? I haven't. We've played them here on the show a few times. Probably due for another one. They just put a new album out. Actually, come to think of it, I think I have played something off their new album here. They're really good. They're from Chicago. They just put an album out earlier this year. I'm not going to try to pronounce the album title because it's in French and I don't speak French. Although they are not a French-based band. They're from Chicago. But while I'm thinking about it, not really French, but there is a band based out of, I want to say, Belgium. And before I say it, I'm going to confirm that I'm correct. Yes. Excuse me. They're from Belgium. They are called FOD.
Okay.
You ever heard of them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, you really have to listen to them. They have an album that came out. Sorry. They have an album. I think their last album was called Sleepville. Really good album. Probably one of the best this decade. God, when was it? 2020 is when it came out. They also have they have a deluxe version of that album that came out, or maybe it was the deluxe that came out in 2020. I don't know, but yeah, it's called Sleepville. Definitely an album worth checking out. I don't think they'll ever come over to the States.
Right.
If they do, I would, definitely hit that up. That'd be a good show. So a band that for the longest time I never saw and wanted to, like when they were in their big heyday, I was not really going to concerts and whatnot, so I missed them when they were active. And actually, I'm wearing their shirt right now.
Oh yeah.
Never got to see them when they were active, and then they broke up, and I was like, "Ah, damn it!" But last year, they did a reunion show in Chicago. They had a reunion show planned in 2020, and then COVID hit and it canceled. So I was like,
Right.
"Son of a bitch!" And I had tickets to that show, but it did get refunded, by the way. But yeah, 2022, they did a reunion show in Chicago. And at the time, I was not yet in Michigan, although I was already planning to move to Michigan. But yeah, like when I bought the ticket to that show in Chicago, I had thought I was already going to be in Michigan. But as it turned out, like everybody in the family except for me and my son had already left to go to Michigan, and because he was not moving to Michigan with us, I had to wait. I had to wait till he turned 18.
Right.
So I was
that.
still back here. So I was like, well, crap, I already have the ticket, and I'm like, I guess I'm not going. Man, this sucks. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. I'm going to buy a plane ticket. I'm going to fly to Chicago, and I'm going to go. So I did. I got a plane ticket, and I flew to Chicago for one night. And it was a good day, though. I mean, I got in there early, and so I had a lot of time until the show. So I wound up going to a White Sox game and hung out there for a while because I'm obviously a big White Sox fan. And then after that, I went to a festival. It was like a Puerto Rican festival down in Chicago, and met up with a friend of mine. Hung out with him for a bit. And then after that, I went to Chinatown and had dinner. And the venue, which was Reggie's, is actually not that far from Chinatown. So I wound up just like walking over there. And it was a good show. It was great. It was the Methadones, which, I'd never seen before, and they were amazing. It was incredible, great experience. And then the opening acts. Gosh, I can't remember who the opening acts were. I mean, Dan Vapid and the Cheats played, but that's like another, like the Methadones was Dan Vapid. So it was like, I got to see him twice, but yeah, seeing the Methadones was amazing. So that was a really good night. What do we got going on here in the chat? Spencer says, I do like the majority of the stuff you play. Need to dig deeper into bands you've played, and if there's any specific recommendations you may have. Or Cameron, dude, I've got recommendations for days, if not months, if not years.
Yeah, this is a long conversation.
Yeah, Spencer, you are in the Discord server for Rebel Rock Radio. I am always throwing up stuff that I'm listening to throughout the day in the Discord server. It's like, I'm giving you recommendations, man. I'm always giving you recommendations. You just got to pay attention. Yeah. Love you, Spencer. Anyway, can you think of any other bands that you have not seen but would like to?
I mean, there's all.
I'm sure there's bands out there that I have not seen but would like to. And
there's all sorts of kind of like reunion shows going on and stuff recently that I'd probably like to see.
Yeah.
But then for some reason I just can't bring myself to do it. They're either, doing it for money, or they're, for whatever reasons they're doing it.
Oh,
like
yeah, I got you.
Black flag thing where they're arguing over the name. Like I'd really like to
yeah.
go see them, but I don't want to. Yeah.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
There was two. Interestingly, it kind of, you being able to see the Methadones kind of brings me up to seeing bands that from a long time ago that and then like this year. So I was supposed to go to both Social Distortion and the Descendants this summer, and both of them had, the singers for both bands had medical emergencies and had to cancel.
Yeah.
That really like puts you in touch with how old you are and your mortality.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a definite bummer. I've seen both of those bands before, but not for a long time. So it would have been great to see them.
I've seen the Descendants quite a number of times.
Yeah, same. And I saw them a lot at All.
Yeah, I've seen both of them a few times.
So I'd actually like to see one that I haven't seen that I'd really like to see is Propaganda. I'd like to go see.
I was oddly enough just about to say I would like to see Propaganda. Yeah. I've never seen them.
That would be a great show.
I don't know if you've heard this story or not. You have to have heard this story, but for those who haven't heard the story, so on the subject of Descendants and all, you know who Stefan Egerton is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So
of course I do. He's my favorite guitar player.
Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, Stefan Egerton is the guitar player for the Descendants and all. Well, we are kind of, I don't know if I want to say friends, but we're like very close acquaintances. Because I met him at an All show years ago, and we just kept in touch like all those years. And
you interviewed him, didn't you?
I did interview him at one point in time. Yeah. So that's what I was getting ready to bring up. So I moved back to Oklahoma from Seattle, and I'd been here a little while, and I was dating Mandy, who is my wife now, and I was talking to Stefan, who had just released his 7 Degrees of Stefan Egerton album, solo album. And he was doing some shows in support of it. So I was talking to him over, I don't know, probably Facebook. And he asked me if I was coming to the show. And I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, I'm coming to the show. And at the time, we were planning to get married, Mandy and I. And at the time of this discussion that this happened, we were actually thinking of eloping because we were like getting really sick of the whole wedding planning thing. It was just, if you've been there, you know. So I'm talking to Stefan, and I'm like, hey, you know what? If you know any ministers, you should bring them to the show so that Mandy and I can get married. And, joking around. So fast forward to the night of the show. Mandy did not go with me, but I go to the show, and I'm talking to Stefan for a little while. And then he goes off to do something, and I go off to talk to my buddy Dave, who was also at the show. And then like 5 minutes later, Stefan comes running up to me. He's like, dude, the minister's here. And I'm like, okay. That's weird. I was just joking, but okay. He's like, no, you should seriously get her here and we'll do this. I'm like, huh. Yeah, let's do this. So I call her, and I'm like, you need to get here, and we're gonna get married at the show. She's like, no, I've been drinking. I'm like, I don't care. And she's like, I'm in pajamas. I'm not gonna change clothes. I'm like, I don't care. Just come. So she shows up in a Joan Jett t-shirt and pajama pants. And Stefan's doing his thing, and he stops the show in the middle of his set, brings us on. We get married, starts the show again. And our wedding toast was shots of Jameson that were purchased by Scott Reynolds.
Oh, nice.
So if you know who Scott Reynolds is, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got married at a punk rock show. That was basically like both of our favorite guitar players.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. That was a really great show too. By the way, it was pretty amazing.
Musically, that guy is just so amazing. I mean, he's a great guy as well, but I mean, the stuff he comes up with is so good.
Like, yeah, he's the guitar player that you wish you could play like. I mean, not you, just like you in general, just you.
100%. I wish I could.
I wish I could play like him. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right, so we've got 2 more songs that we're going to play. And then we have another short topic that we're going to mention. But hey, Blue is in the chat room. How's it going? Anyway, so the first song we are going to play is from a band based out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, called 30 is Dead. And they put an album out back in July on the record label Party Mouth. The name of that album was R.I.P. And the song we're playing from that album is Stick Drift. So here it goes.
Stick drift! 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 I just wanna relax, not murder to the max. Who will pick up my gun or take time to run? Stick drift!
right. So that song was Medicine by Brighton, UK band Harker. And that song was released as a single back in August by Wiretap Records. I really like the song. I mean, I pretty much like anything that Harker puts out, but this is probably one of my favorite things that they've put out recently. It's really good. I like it. But before that was Stick Drift by 30 is Dead. And that had a cool sound to it. That was pretty neat. Had some elements of old school Black Flag in it, and had another like you had I think you had something a comment about it. It kind of
that part, that kind of a slow spoken word part really sounded like Institutionalized from Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah, that's because I kept thinking, man, this is there's something else in here that it sounds something other than Black Flag, but you hit that right on the head. So those guys are from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Good stuff. Be on the lookout for those guys. So the last topic that we're going to talk about tonight, probably won't spend a whole lot of time on it because we're already coming up on 2 hours already. We're going to talk physical media versus digital media. And obvious, this is a music show. We're talking about media as in regards to music. So I didn't really have like a real strong what exactly are we going to talk about in regards to like which I like, are we going to talk about like which do we like better or different versions? Like obviously with digital we're talking like streaming services, Apple Music, Spotify, MP3, that kind of stuff. Which actually we talked about on last week's show. But with physical media, of course you're talking. We're going to go way back. So obviously you have vinyl, which has made quite a bit of resurgence in the last 10, 15 years. But you also have
8-track.
You have the 8-track, and then you had the cassette, and then you had the CD. So of those, okay, in the grand scheme of things, I would say that vinyl is my favorite, but I also have a really strong fondness of cassette. Over like CD. Like, the quality of the sound on a CD is probably better, but the cassette was just so much more portable.
Yeah. And also for me, it's like, well, I mean, straight off, I could throw away 8-track and CDs. They could have never existed and I'd been fine. I kind of differentiate between physical media and digital media. And then like, if I'm interested in like clarity and like quality of recording, digital media is gonna win out on that. But physical media, like almost like it's not just the listening part of it. Like there's a I mean,
aesthetic.
Obviously
There's an aesthetic aspect
physical,
of it.
but you associate it with like things that you're doing, like putting the radio on and moving the needle or creating a mixtape, like the excitement of hearing a song on the radio and running over to get a tape in real quick to record it and missing, the first few seconds of it. So there's those kind of actions that give me a great fondness for
Yeah.
Probably vinyl being the top one.
Well, yeah, and the thing about vinyl, and even with cassettes, is you had those liner notes that you could just pour over while listening to the music. So back in the day, I don't want to sound like an old man, but I am an old man.
Yeah.
But back in the day, like listening to music was more of an experience.
Yeah.
It wasn't just boom, you're sitting in your desk doing some work, listening to music, which I do all day. But it was just more. There was more of an experience to it. Daryl jumped in the chat, and he says physical media all day. So he would prefer physical over digital, it seems. He said, that was good. He said, I would stare at the covers and get high. Wait, I still do.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it's all about that experience.
Exactly.
Record release parties, or
like
nobody sits there, with Apple Music open or whatever they prefer to buy stuff on these days, and like waits for an album to drop and then goes. I mean, somebody might, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I do remember going and like waiting in line at the at the music store for them to open to buy a new album that would come out or something like that. So it's definitely more of a social and physical thing associated with obviously physical media itself, but definitely more social. Right. We're very disconnected from each other through screens, right? So digital media just doesn't have that social aspect of it anymore.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you could throw away CDs and you'd be fine. What was it about CDs that you didn't like?
How easy it was to ruin them, right? I mean, like just a few scratches and they were done for.
Yeah, I get that.
Whereas a cassette, you could play that 1,000 times and before it starts to stretch, and then you could twist it a little bit, maybe fix it for a few more plays.
Yeah. Well, and with cassettes, it was so much easier to make copies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, accessibility is better now with digital media because you can find it anywhere. But yeah, there's just something about it, and the musical clarity of course is much better. If I'm recording any music, it's always digital, and will never probably get on an album or a CD or anything. So I like the clarity for listening to the music, but then physical for the feeling of it.
Yeah, I not really thought of it that way with the CDs though, but yeah, I mean you're absolutely right that accessibility is so much better now with digital. So many bands out there are able to get their stuff out and be heard and whatnot. But at the same time, you wonder if that is a positive thing or not.
Yeah, depends on.
Has the market become oversaturated?
Yeah. I mean, there's like, if you think about it, how back in when we were, in our teens and 20s, like how would you get something of an underground band, right? You'd either have to go to the show and buy it from their merch folk, trade tapes, or record it on college radio or something. So I do like that I can just go and find new music that's as underground as can be, really easy. But there is definitely like, I don't want to be too harsh on people, but a proliferation of crap out there. That gets played on whether YouTube or whatever, and then somehow it gets decided is good, and then you hear it on the radio and you're just like, this is just garbage. So yeah, there's good and bad for sure.
So Daryl made another comment that's very relevant. You find that listening to albums physically, you are forced more into listening to the artist's vision instead of just track by track.
Yeah.
And then looking at liner notes. Yeah. So, I would have to say that preferably digital media, like overall, like when you take the pros and cons of everything, physical is probably better. But as far as accessibility, you really can't beat digital.
Yeah.
I mean, listening to music in the car is so much easier now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just hook your phone up to your car and play whatever streaming service you want to play on there.
Yeah. I like being able to have like all the music on the planet, at the touch, convenience, right? It's
Yeah.
detriment and to our benefit. We want convenience in the palm of our hand, and that's kind of what
definitely.
the digital side gives you.
Exactly.
So as humans, we're lazy.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
It's naturally lazy.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I first of all want to thank everybody that is in the chat room for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Daryl, Spencer, Chantel, Tina, anyone that I'm missing. I can't remember who I'm missing. Blue. And most importantly, thank Cameron for coming on and doing the show with me tonight.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And so that was our music fun-filled episode. I will not be doing a show next week, but the week after that, I plan to do another show. Subject matter to be determined. Can't tell you. I don't know. We'll see. So next week we won't have a show. So our next show will be the 12th of October. In any case, thanks everybody for listening and watching and all that good stuff. And make sure that if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and comment and all that good shit. And again, if you want to follow us on the social media, just go over to bio.link/Rebel Rock Radio and come hang out with us. But that is it for us tonight. So have a great Friday for tomorrow and a great weekend and a great week. And thanks for coming. Take care.